All right, welcome students. We are going to begin our drawing exercises through this slideshow. I will describe what I'd like you to do, and many of these drawings are practice and ways to get to know the materials and what to do with those materials. All right, so you should have received your drawing kit, and you should have some sandpaper, a set of different sized drawing pencils, a ebony pencil here, some blending stumps, a gray scale, a rubber kneaded eraser, and a poly eraser, a white eraser. If you don't have some of the things, I did send home with those that were remote. I think one of everything, but if you don't, we can get you more supplies. I have some on order and we'll be adding to what we, for those that didn't get everything that was in the drawing kit. I do want these set of tools back when the semester is over, but any paper and drawings that you create, of course, you get to keep. All right, so your first step in the drawing packet, you should have received a packet of paper, and it's just copy paper with a couple of printed paper pages. The first page is this drawing pencil types, and you have received a set. You don't have all the ones that are listed here, but you have received a set of drawing pencils, and I'd like you to try them out. So this is how drawing pencils work. There are different levels of drawing graphite in each of the pencils. So when a pencil is marked H, and here we've got a selection of H's, it is a hard lead. And a hard lead is going to be a light lead. So if you have a 2H and a 4H or whatever you have in your packet, I want you to try it out. You don't have to use any specific heavy amounts of pressure, but try out how those work in these boxes that I've provided. Now, if you have a B pencil, that is usually a softer graphite, and that will end up being more of uh, a dark mark. So when you're shading this in, these should progressively get darker. As the numbers increase, the level of softness increases. And so you'll get even a darker mark as you move along the scale here. Try each one of those pencils out to see and get the feel of how those work. Now, when I'm drawing and I want to draw something light, I'm going to start with an H pencil. The H pencil has a light mark and it's going to be easier to erase. When I'm shading in something, I'm going to use more of a B pencil. And it's going to be a little harder to erase, but it's also going to be easier to fill in. The ebony pencil, I'm not sure, it's probably similar to an 8B. It has it really puts in a nice dark mark, and it's a thick lead as well. So try those out. That's your first step. Your next step in the packet is this value scale. You can use any combination of the pencils that you feel comfortable with, but you're going to create a dark to light value scale. You can go in either direction. If it's easier for you to start light and just eventually kind of get a gradation of layers, and it may be that you just layer it so as you darken it. So go from dark to light in a grayscale value scale. Now, you are next going to create some forms. So what we're learning here is value. When we're drawing, we're creating a gradation of value. So when this value creates, when you're using value, you're going to draw some flat forms and make them look three-dimensional. So I'm going to be putting in the Canvas classroom this video, but you're going to watch that video and follow along, and you're going to draw the various forms. I believe in this one he uses all 5 of these forms. He draws each of those Follow along, pause if you need to, and draw each 5 of those forms using the instructions this video provides. We're also going to learn about different types of value in shading. So there is not just regular shading, but there's also hatching and cross-hatching and stippling and scribbling. So give that a try. I think this page is also in your packet. And try creating a value scale using hatching, cross-hatching, stippling, and scribbling. And this next video kind of talks about that. So you're also going to be watching this drawing techniques where he shows you how to use the different types of shading techniques and give those all a try as well in an extra page that you have in your drawing packet. I like to highlight, this is one of my favorite illustrators. I just find his drawings to be pretty amazing. He uses a lot of cross-hatching and hatching. This book is from the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs book. This is actually a movie that came out. I know many of you have seen the movie, but the book came out way back in the 70s. He has a couple of books that he has illustrated in this hatching and cross-hatching. And so here is one of the pages from that book. And you can kind of see how he's used hatching and cross hatching. He's added color too. He's used this in pen and ink, but he's also added color. And I kind of zoomed in and put some detail here because you can see how the cross hatching is close together where he wants it dark, and then a little looser where he wants it light. So it's a good example of the use of cross hatching. All right, so practice, practice, practice is one of the rules I like to use. Draw light at first using an H pencil. The eraser is your friend, so as you've drawn lighter, you can erase and change and work that way. Also, another tip is it is okay to start over. So if you've got started on a drawing and it's not working out well, start fresh. There's nothing wrong with that. We have more paper that I can provide to you if you've used up your paper. Get feedback from others, and we may at some point have kind of a collaboration discussion in Canvas, and I'm kind of hoping to kind of work that out in the future once I figure out how to do that. And 6, this is a really good method sometimes when you're drawing something, is to turn it upside down or look at it in the mirror. You may find that the new perspective will shed light on your proportions. So those are a few drawing tips as we go forward. All right, so now I'm going to have you do a series of drawings, and these are practice. And so this is what I'm going to have you do in progression. You're going to do a blind contour drawing, and you're going to do 3 of those, and a contour drawing, a continuous line drawing, a gesture drawing, and a drawing with shading. And so that's what I'll show you next what that entails. So a gesture drawing, well, first, there's different ways to hold a pencil. So you may want to try out some different ways to hold your pencil. Sometimes if I kind of use this one, sometimes if I'm standing and I have a piece of paper in front of me, your tendency is to use more of your shoulder than your fingers and the strength of your hand. This is a typical, and maybe when you're working kind of tight and trying to get fine details, but when you're wanting to draw looser, I would consider trying some of these other ways of holding your pencil. Try it out. All right, so a blind contour drawings. So this is where you do not look at your paper. You're going to draw your hand or an object that's in front of you, and you're not going to look at your paper at all. If you need to, use something to shield yourself to prevent yourself from looking at it. Look at your subject, and in most cases, I have students just look at their hand, put their hand in a position, and draw the outline. What you're going to do is follow the edges of your outlines. You can draw the interiors and exterior lines, but just paying attention. This is forcing you, this exercise is forcing you to look at your subject more often. So I want you to do it 3 times to get yourself in the habit of looking at your subject. Let your eyes follow the outlines of your subject, and while you're doing that, have your pencil in hand and draw. Follow your eye and draw that line. Do that 3 times in the packet of paper. If you can draw it in such a way that you do a couple on each page if you're running out of pages, or find some more paper to work with. Draw slowly, and try it several times. Do not worry about the outcome. We are practicing and training our eye to look at our subject. Now, I want you to do the same thing again, just a plain contour drawing of your hand, and you can add some of the lines of your hand, but this time you can look at your paper. Just you don't have to do any kind of shading, just do your contour of your hand. Then I want you to do a continuous line drawing. You still can look at your hand and your paper, but draw your subject with one continuous line without lifting your pencil from your paper. The outcome is oftentimes pretty interesting. This is a gesture drawing, and I want you to draw kind of quick and loose and expressive. Try to draw your hand as fast as you can. Loose, expressive, try it a couple of times. The results are kind of fun and expressive and kind of very active. And then I want you to find a spot in that packet to draw your hand, contour lines, and then add the shading. Look closely to where there is light and dark values. Sometimes if you're looking at your hand, sometimes people see their hand as just all one skin tone. Look closely to where things are slightly darker and slightly lighter, and add those shaded areas to bring out the 3 dimensions of your hand. You'll just have done the forms, the cone and the sphere and the cylinder. That is where you're going to apply that skill to something that is more of an object. So I believe that is the last of what I want you to cover in this video. Do all of those things. If you need to go back to this video, you sure may. So to revisit, there's several things I'm going to have you do as warm-ups before we get going on our regular drawing assignment. Happy drawing!